Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us on the Nightmare Hunters podcast. We got a full house tonight. We got an awesome show lined up for you. Robert Jed Raines is in the house. He is joining us from his humble abode in South Carolina. And we have a Steve Wildman Monroe sighting tonight. Generally, those are only in profile and very grainy, done for, like the Patterson-Gimlin footage. But we've got Steve tonight, and we have a special guest in the house tonight. You guys will remember him. He's been on the show a few times before, and we've always loved it because he always brings some wonderful stuff to share. And tonight is no different. Tonight we have stuntman, actor, writer, researcher, and just all-around awesome dude. Jesus Payan is in the house. Jesus, how have you been, brother?
I've been okay, bald and hairy.
The beard's good, man. I like how you thicken that up. It looks good.
Thank you. Gonna bring it back. I gotta bring it back. Been too long. Especially with what's going on with me, and there's definitely no karate chopping right now anytime soon. So I was like, I don't have to have the usual look, like from the show and stuff. So yeah, I'm like, gotta be me.
Well, we just saw you the other night. We were rewatching Longmire, and I pointed you out in the episode. My wife's like, "Is that really him?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's him." He told me which episode.
Yep, that's me with no facial hair, whole different person.
Working on a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what the heck was my character's name? It was Jace. Yeah, I think it was Jace.
Yeah, I think it was Jace, yeah.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago or something. Good times.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you've been dealing with some health issues, but you're kind of on the mend, and we're glad to hear that. And we're glad you're getting back out here and hanging out with folks like us, and you could share the research and your stories, because you got a lot of great ones, and we're just happy to have you back with us, brother.
I'm glad to be back, and like you're saying, because a lot of people didn't know, just I guess the people I call my close friends, that I was at my work and my job, and broke my foot and my ankle, had to have reconstructive surgery on both. So that knocked me out for months and months and months and months. And that's like, it's been a long time since anybody's seen some action from me. And my Facebook is down right now, and just all kinds of craziness. And I haven't been able to go into to where I normally get to go, to go do my hunting. So I appreciate you guys very, very much, because my only connection right now to this world of documenting Bigfoot, all that Harris stuff, is through all of you, out there, and just getting to watch my YouTube stuff. So yeah, I'm glad to be here is what I'm saying. Thank you.
Well, we're glad to have you, brother.
Yep.
You're welcome anytime.
Thank you.
So you had the rare opportunity to actually collaborate with the guy who has done such an in-depth breakdown of the Patterson-Gimlin footage. Can you tell us a little bit about your collaboration with him?
Okay, so I've been analyzing the Patterson-Gimlin film for a long time, and then you had Green Wave YouTube had the Patterson-Gimlin film for a long time and did lots of work on there, and he had been showing lately on his videos this image he had of Patty's face that was just the most clearest image you'd ever seen, and that it had been enhanced by a friend of his named Todd Gatewood. So I eventually figured out how to get a hold of Todd Gatewood, because I took a picture off of the computer of the picture he was showing on his YouTube, and I'm good at enhancing imagery. I've done it for security and for TV shows and all kinds of stuff to work with UFOs and ghost anomalies and Sasquatch. And this was right when I took the picture. No enhancements that I've done. This is what he has presented, and I from there started enhancing it, adding contrast and darkening certain areas that seemed a little bit weird to me. It didn't make sense that I had noticed before, but now I had a lot more detail. Like you can see right here, the part that really interests me is from that bright white nostril straight down to the chin, curving like towards the left. And right there, there's some strange shapes there that look not natural, I guess you could say. So I went and contacted Todd, and I was like, "Hey, man, did you guys did you notice this? I know you looked at every version of this picture. Did you guys notice these things? You know, and yeah, he had noticed it. He didn't elaborate on what possibly it caused that or what it is. I told him what I thought it is, and what some doctors that I showed think it is. And I didn't, show the doctors the whole picture, just the mouth area. I think it's surgical bandages that have been put there from serious, mouth trauma. Something happened to Patty right there, and that's why when you see her face, only part of her mouth is growling, "Arr," and the other part's closed, and then you can see her teeth to the right. And once I zoomed in and enhanced it even further, you can see the pathways of all the different bandages that have been surgically sewn onto her face, and even to where right there between the top lip and bottom lip, there's actual little bridge with a stretchy, I guess would be stretchy piece of material that travels underneath it, connected to the top and the bottom lip. I asked the surgeon what would be the purpose of this style of bandaging, and he said that it's specifically made so that the person that received he said extreme mouth trauma can still eat and drink liquids, but not open the mouth so much that where it would affect, I guess, what's been repaired surgically with the jaw and that part of the mouth. So
what do you think that means?
Well, I have my theories. When you listen to everybody's stories that they've heard of what was really going on, possibly, at the Patterson site that day, and from what it sounds like to me, if you look at the evidence for me, the bandaging, and the fact that we don't know of or ever heard of Sasquatch sewing with needles and doing bandages, I think that Patty had been I guess, captured at some point with other Sasquatch and was being sold, or people like big game hunters were getting, they could pay a shitload of money, excuse my language, and they could go out and shoot a Bigfoot, And I think that the one time before this one, she got shot in the face and they repaired her and sold her again out to be hunted. And just an idea, because like what other options is there? The other thing is that I found, I should have sent that picture, wasn't thinking. On Patty's arm is a branding, a straight up branding on her arm. So, what do you connect branding with animals? Property, right? So if there isn't a tribal branding, then why else would they be branded? Unless this is the situation possibly at hand. Yeah, I was able to bring out a lot of what's there.
I want to go on record as saying that this is not something that Jesus just came up with. Like when this video became popular, a couple months ago, maybe 60.
Yeah, a few months back.
The exact same thing that Jesus just told y'all. He told me, was it 3 years ago, Jesus, when we had this discussion? Yep. He had this theory 3 years ago. So the man's ahead of his time.
I tell you, I just think about Sasquatch. Got Sasquatch on the brain, But yeah, so it's like I have a picture from here in New Mexico of a Sasquatch, which I named Bailey, and I think it's a she. It could be a guy. I don't know, but that's why I named it Bailey, because that could be a boy or a girl. But it has the same burn mark, or the same mark on her arm as looks like a branding.
Didn't you show me that?
Patty. Yeah, I showed you that one too.
I thought so.
And I belong to a tribe. I've worked with many tribes, lived in many different, with different tribes, and I know how tribes work. Around the world, I study this stuff, and something that we don't do, tribe to tribe, different tribes, is use the exact same symbols. We all have our own versions of them, So it's very, very rare and odd, unless they caught the bus or something, to be from California tribe and have the same exact burn mark on the upper left arm or upper right arm from a clan here in New Mexico, down by Mexico, Texas, So I'm thinking somebody I don't know, can't say who, military, what, I don't know. Somebody has taken hold of a bunch of them and marked them for nefarious reasons. Personally, I don't think it's to help them out.
Well, looking at your enhanced pictures, and this is the first I've seen this stuff, so this is all new to me. That's exactly the way that a traumatic fracture is repaired in a mandible in a human. And in fact, I'm like, I've seen that exact type of look before, and I just dug up a CT of a repair. I don't know if y'all can see it there. I'll move it a little closer for you. But
there you go.
There you go. I'll move it up a little bit. But even the way the jaw drops is identical to your picture.
Yeah, that's wild, right?
Now, it may have been fractured by, a gunshot or something there. Who knows what the cause of it was. But, I mean, it's perfect. That is so bizarre. It makes perfect sense. Wow. So
that's pretty spot on, Steve. I mean that.
Well, since Doc ain't here to do it, I had to go down my little nerd world when you all started talking. Once I saw the picture, everything else went to. I'm like looking at the picture.
MK Davis has often said that there were other Bigfoot there that were being hunted.
Yep.
Well, not to pull, but did Jessica not say that she remote viewed that and said that there was a big hunt going on and that Patty was running from that? I mean, she said it, and now
I don't think that necessarily means that Patterson and Gimlin were part of it.
No, and she never said that. I'm just saying.
I think they happened upon it. Maybe had some inside info that there'd be one in the neighborhood, possibly, amongst whoever. But I think it's just like that movie Ice-T was in. Do you remember that movie? He was a homeless person.
Dangerous Game, I think.
Yeah, and the elite had said, if you can make it out of the forest, you get $10,000 or whatever.
Yep.
And we will leave you alone if you can make it there. Same thing, and they do that crap. They do that crap. Yeah. Oh boy, do they do that crap. Well, I know too many millionaires and billionaires out there that
the trope in that movie. That's not the only movie that trope has been used.
That was a Van Damme movie.
Yeah, Hard Target with Van Damme. Basically No Escape was with Ray Liotta was kind of the same thing. Only
the Running Man.
Prison Running Man. The same premise. I mean, same premise, just kind of different narratives woven in and out of it. But that's. I
don't think it's hard to believe it. You know what I mean? Humans are we're terrible, terrible creatures. Good Lord.
Because somebody somewhere really does something like that.
And like AMK Davis, when a lot of people got pissed at him for even telling that story that this was some type of hunt was happening. And it's like, well, one, he didn't make it up. He got to hear it from, I believe it was Patterson's wife, right? That she had, before he passed, he had told her what had happened before, and he just said never tell nobody. But he was gone, and she was about to go, and she was like, "Here, I got some pictures now. Here's what was going on." And MK, I know MK, and he's always been a good dude. I mean, the sweetest little guy, And
MK's an awesome dude.
Oh man, I've never known him to be malicious and be a jerk, And in this industry, or I don't know what you want to call it, in this field of research, it is like 98% of I hate everyone, So it's like when you meet a gentle soul, it's like I give him the benefit of the doubt. And again, he didn't make it up. That was what he heard from down the road. And now that nobody else has noticed the mouth, bandages that go even further down. I've done more, but that's the main stuff that you're going to be looking at right there. It all makes sense as an investigator,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the only one that's a former officer that does this kind of research and does investigations. And
MK also talked about a malformation on her thigh that looked like a ruptured muscle or something like that.
A herniated, that could be a hernia right there on the leg. Yeah.
Well, that could easily be scar tissue.
Even before or past that, DA and I were looking at it. Whenever we had this last one, there's actually one where she's turned to the side. You can actually see the imprint. Looks like she might have been at one time carrying a younger one, because you can actually see where it looks like where it was kind of holding up over the back of her shoulder blade. where the hair is kind of rubbed down, so of exactly how you would carry a toddler or infant or whatever. So, I mean, she could have hit.
Have you ever
She could have hit
noticed
her kid and then been trying to get whoever was hunting them away from the kid.
right? Mama will do amazing things to protect her children.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed Patty's left eye in that picture?
Let me go back to that. I'll go back and bring it up.
And I think the reason why there's white in the nostril is because there's bandage coming out of it. Awesome. Alleged.
Let me bring that up. Had to find the right picture.
Yeah, I think her left eye. I think she was shot in the eye, and that's why in none of the pictures you can see the eye right. Like you can see her right eye. Just the way even the orbital socket looks a little collapsed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like her brow is a little bit lower on that side.
Yeah, drooping.
It does look like she's got something in her nose.
Yep, right there. Now, for the longest time, I was like, "What the heck? Why would it be white in there? There should be darkness, shadow, from the nostril." And then once I enhanced everything, you see that bandage goes straight up to the nose area.
Yeah.
And if you look over here, it does look like that socket's empty.
Yep, and it's got crusty blood on it. If that is the eye right there, it's not in the right place, and blood, solid, herniated blood shot.
Yep.
Scabbed over.
It just gives a whole new feeling to the look she's looking at Patterson. That look right there, just a growl, the stare,
And the face looks like it's kind of got like a malformation in the jawline too.
Yep, that whole area looks like it's been hit bad. Then
Yeah.
of course I can see that what is it, that ponytail or little braid. Have you seen the braid?
I don't think I have.
Okay, zoom in again how you were just zoomed in. All right, now you see her eye, the brown eye.
Right here?
Yeah, I'm gonna direct your little hand. Go to the left. Go to the left. A little bit more. Right there. Stop.
Oh, I see it.
Straight up and down. You can see there's an actual braid that goes from the dark area straight down to her cheek. There's a braid there.
Thank you for the super chat, Miss Lene.
There's just so much there that if you were just a hoaxer, which there's beyond a doubt this isn't a hoax, but I'm just saying there's so much here that people don't even know about that is there that would be no reason to or able to know these things to do that. If it was just a mask, you wouldn't go through all that trouble of doing sewing in all that stuff. You just
right. That's just detail that most cameras would never even pick up anyway.
Nope, exactly.
Well, the guy who was the head makeup artist for the Planet of the Apes, which was the definitive movie of that time frame, has gone on record and said, if we could have made suits that looked that good, that's what you would have seen in the movie.
Yep.
And that ain't what we saw in the movie.
And it was so hard that they refused to do full body. That's why they had wearing costumes.
Yeah.
So they only had to do the heads and the head. Yep. But I think that's a whole nother level of another reason to say this is
Bob
this is a living creature.
Bob Hieronymus did not make that suit in his garage or whatever.
Well, when I took the image to my doctors, I zoomed in to where you just saw the mouth there. It just looks like some dude with a beard. You know what I mean? Some very homeless guy with a beard, and just that area I showed. I said, I need your thoughts. What's the purpose of this thingy here and that thingy there? And there was no question at all from this doctor that it was a human being of some sort. He didn't say, "Hey, is that a Bigfoot?" He just said, "Oh, this person has experienced, extreme mouth trauma, and this is what this is for. This is so they can move up and down still, and all that." I was just like, "Thank you so much." And then I zoomed out, and the doctor said, "Is that a Bigfoot?" I was like, "Yeah, but we won't talk about that right now. Thank you, sir. I'll talk to you later." You know? Yeah.
Steve, from a nursing standpoint, what are we, not just that you've already said this is accurate, but kind of walk us through this process.
Well, they would, if it were human, they would be trying to do as much of the repair under the skin as they could. So they would have lifted up both the lips and secured them and try to deal with the bone by going through the gum area.
So what kind of trauma could cause this?
Oh, a good blunt force trauma, a projectile. It would take some force. It would definitely take some force.
Basically.
Gunshot. Yeah, a gunshot could do it. We're not talking like a handgun, though. I'm talking. It'd be like a high-powered rifle. It would have to be a big gun. Because we're assuming this is a pretty massive bunch of muscle and bone.
If you're hunting Bigfoot, you're probably not hunting them with a 9mm.
Nope.
Well, yeah, and let's hope not. But it is possible that the impact may have gone in there and exited the eye, or gone in the eye and exited there. The two could cross over and still not hit anything vital. It would have gone through the sinuses and the soft palate and the maxilla.
Well, let me stop you right there, Steve. So what you're saying is that it is theoretically possible that she could have been shot in the eye, caused nasal trauma, and come out the mouth and cause that mouth trauma. All three places that we've just talked about that we see that there's some kind of medical procedure that appeared to have been done on her in those three areas. It's possible that she could have been shot and it caused all that.
Oh yeah, if she was shot from an elevated position to her left, absolutely. My suspicion would be that the mouth area was the exit wound, because you're going to have expansion around more serious trauma.
What do we call that, DA?
I'm sorry, I was concentrating on something else.
We call that a clue.
Yeah. Sorry, something just hit the back of the house. I was texting Noah to see if
I
he'd
heard
go.
that. I was wondering what that was. It sounded like almost like a projector reel ended.
Yeah. Something just smacked the back of the house and actually shifted my AC unit.
Oh no. Oh Lord.
Harley's in the house. Hold on, Noah's not awake. I'm gonna bring the image down and bring you guys up. I'm gonna pause. Well, I'm gonna mute my mic and my camera for just a minute while I grab a pistol and go out there and see what's going on.
We shall proceed.
I'll be right back.
Be careful. So, but basically, what I'm saying is, based on your medical knowledge, Steve, that what we see in that picture could have been caused by some type of trauma, and that's what we would see is the things that we just pointed out in that picture, right?
Absolutely. I would say, but if you could see inside the mouth, it probably blew out the upper teeth. Either the bicuspids or the first molar up in that area, and probably the lower as well, but definitely the upper. And you figure, take my glasses off. I mean, you could have that perspective.
Yep.
If they're shot at a 60-degree angle.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes complete sense because I'm all backwards. Which way does it go?
Yeah.
All right. So
I said all the time, I'm like, he's over there. Right there.
So when you
think about a person in profile,
almost like
the
22 does.
Of the corner of the mouth isn't that far back.
Nope.
So the round could go from eye to mouth and not go through anything vital.
Well, let me pose this question to you, Steve. What if they were up in a tree stand and they shot down? It hit down
in position,
and it went down through the eye.
Yeah.
Come out down through the nasal passageway and then out through the mouth.
It would make sense. And you figure if it went in the eye, it could have just simply destroyed the globe. If you ever watch ballistic gelatin get shot by a bullet, it does that, cavitation thing.
Yep.
That's what the squishy parts of the eye would do. That'd probably be the only trauma there. The rest is just soft tissue. And then it probably would have deformed and gone to hell when it hit the bone of the palate. So
we got to remember the Sasquatches, they're very large. So this is my head. Theirs is this wide, you know?
And their bone density is a lot greater than ours too.
Oh,
so
yeah. It's like bison skull, you know? And when you got a 50 caliber for my head, that's this big of a hole. Something that's this big, you know what I mean? It's like me getting shot with a 9.
And Jesus, you got to think about back then when this would have been going on, they wouldn't have had access to a lot of. Yeah, that you probably looking at something like maybe a 30-06 or maybe a British 303.
30-06 or 30-30.
You're probably not going to have somebody with I know you're not going to have somebody with like a 458 SOCOM or a Beowulf or anything like the rounds that we've got nowadays. If somebody was shooting at her back then,
elephant guns existed back then.
Yeah, but a bunch of rednecks in the woods probably not. I mean, obviously, if
you can pay the money. If you've got the money to pay to hunt a Bigfoot, you got the money for big guns.
But we don't know. This may have been an experimental thing that they were just trying out to see if it worked. My point is,
I didn't want to hump that big a gun in.
If they shot her with a 700 Nitro or a 500 Nitro Express or something like that, I don't think she would have walked away from it. That's why I'm saying if this is what we're talking about and it's
a little more crude.
Yeah, I'm thinking more 30-06, 30-30, something like that. Because that feasibly could have done that damage.
Bounced.
And she walked away from it.
Ricochet.
Soft nose 303.
Yeah. I said that right before you put back on a British 303 or something.
If you're in the business for selling hunts, maybe you got rules on the limit of type of guns you can use. So it's not too easy for you to kill one, you know?
That's true too. I mean, there's a lot of factors that could go in. This could have been the very first time they were doing it, and they just offered it to a bunch of their friends that, come on. So they brought their deer rifles.
That little perfectly incised rectangular area looks like where they put in a drain when they do a head or like take tonsils out or anything like that they call a JP drain. It's like a tube that they put up there.
That's what I had that in my leg. I had that in my leg recently.
Yeah. So it looks like where you'd put in a JP drain.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna change the subject real quick, but this is one of my issues because, like I said, I research across the board, but giants is a real huge thing for me. I really love giants, whatever version they may be, and it drives me crazy that they have those megalithomania, those brothers that love the giant stuff, and got none but love for them. Cool dudes, they're characters, but it's like they refuse to make the connection between Sasquatch and not all giants are Sasquatch, obviously, but a whole bunch of them that were being found in all these mounds, in a lot of these mounds, and other skeletons. There's pictures of Sasquatch.
Red-haired giants of Lovelock Cave.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's like there's like a big line that they don't want to touch it. It's like you guys are so, just in general, not just those two guys, but I mean, the giant community are so into giants, but they're like not current ones. It's like, where are the giants that we have currently? What do they look like right now that are still around? How big are they? How big are they gotten? How big are the bones that y'all found before? We don't know all these things. We don't have the skeletons to compare with a Bigfoot skeleton. How do we know that's not a Bigfoot skeleton with a double rose or this or that? There's so much. I just think that they should not ignore it the way they ignore the two different, phenomena.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Hey, Larry asked
that's what I was about to ask.
So I put it on the stream here. Absolutely. I think that's exactly how a veterinarian would perform it on an animal. I've seen repairs done on dogs, along that line when they've got hit by trucks and whatnot. In fact, my little furball had a repair similar to that. He decided he's going to go run out and bark at a moving truck, and I absolutely. I would doubt that they have a Bigfoot medic that could do that kind of, like that's actually a Bigfoot themselves, Dr. Bigfoot. I mean, what you see there is on par with what a vet would have been able to do in the 1960s,
Right.
or a human doctor in the 1960s. So it hasn't changed much in the last 50 years.
And if
60 years.
Jesus' point is correct, if they, were in the business of getting as many hunts as they could, and this one didn't get killed, and they probably had somebody that they paid
Right back
to,
out.
ship, stitch them up, get them right back out there.
Because honestly, would you care if it had a Band-Aid on its face or not? It's a Bigfoot.
If you paid that kind of money and you're out there doing something like that, you're not going to care if it's
Nope.
It's got a
They
wad of galls.
They can fix it in the taxidermy,
Yeah. So, as bad as it is to say it, I think you might be onto something.
Just all fits too perfectly.
And it's
like you said,
it's mind blowing.
The most ridiculous autistic Bigfoot fanatic, and I don't mean that as derogatory to autistic folks, but the most deep in it Bigfoot fanatic who's wanting to fake it wouldn't have gone to that level of detail. I'm sorry.
Hell no.
No.
Makes no sense. Same thing like throwing boobs on it.
Well, what purpose was served in giving poor Patty National Geographic titties? It was.
Yeah. Makes no sense. It's extra work you didn't need to do, and to make them undulate, realistically, which they couldn't even do at the time with implants.
Right.
So it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Because if you're gonna make one fake, why you're gonna make it a male where you ain't got to worry about faking all that stuff?
Right.
Incidentally, a couple of people have asked. I went out in the backyard. There was nothing back there. There's not even anything close to that could have hit it. Not like a branch or anything. There's nothing that could have hit it. There's nothing in the backyard, but all the dogs in the neighborhood are going nuts. So
Is that
I don't know what hit it.
Moved? There was nothing moved or anything?
Is that
the air conditioner? It's inside the fence.
Okay.
The air conditioner actually got shifted by about 4 inches. After the show, I'm gonna have Noah help me reposition it.
So so the reason why it sounded like a reel-to-reel, with the film slapping, is because of the turning of the air conditioner when it moved, or what? Oh, it makes sense to me now. But I think that's pretty dang strange, man. That was out of place. Definitely.
Yeah, very.
Darren Frank had a question. If you want to put it on, see.
Okay, I'll grab it.
Wants to answer it.
He says, "Don't you guys think that Bigfoot bones would be really different, like the blocky bodies as opposed to giant skeletons?"
Well, sure. Just like was it the Neanderthal bones that they found? They're thicker, definitely going to be thicker. But once you're dealing with a skeleton that's 9 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet large, the average person isn't going to be able to tell the difference between the thickness of their femur versus an abnormally thick femur compared to this ginormous being. That's the only reason I don't think that people would really notice unless you're a seasoned in anatomy of some sort to be able to figure that out just by taking a glance at something. But there's been so many reports though of Sasquatch that are skinny, tall and skinny. Not all of them are big, bulky, Incredible Hulk shaped ones. They're just as different as humans shape wise. From what I've heard so far in reports since a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is kind of lost, because most people like you said, most people think about the big Incredible Hulk size, but there's been a lot of even if you think about start looking at Gugway and Genosqua and all the different, none of them are ever described the same way. They're all different heights and thicknesses and things like that, and I think that's something that kind of gets lost. And some people just kind of tend to kind of take the Kleenex mentality. Every tissue is a Kleenex, even though there's 500 different brands of
different double
facial tissue. They're all Kleenex. Kind of the same mentality. Well, they're all Bigfoot, even though
it blows my mind what still blows my mind, guys, I'm sure somebody you've talked to has said this to you, made this comment. You mean there's more than one? I get that. I get that. I'm like, you stop it. Stop it. It's like, you come on now. You really, but there's people that really think that there was only one Sasquatch ever.
This is a Neanderthal skull compared to a human skull.
Yep. Big difference. See, and you heard of the theory, or I guess the hypothesis that if you let a human skull continue to grow for 300 years, 400 years, that you would end up with something that looks like a Neanderthal skull.
Yep.
Because of the eyebrow ridges continuing to grow, all these different parts of our face as males, we continue growing. And if people, live for more than what we live now, like, where the Bible says people lived, all the way up to like 1,000 years almost.
Yep.
Somewhere in there, you had a human that did live 300 years. What would that skull look like at that point?
And they continued to grow and got probably a lot bigger than we did too. So,
yeah. Well, I've been hearing different things. Some scientists say, and on TV, anthropologists and say that the Neanderthals were only like 5'5", and then I'll hear 7'2", and then I'll hear it's like, well, which is it? Or is it all of the above, big and small? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just think about how much, and we talked about this a couple months ago when, back when we were kids, they described dinosaurs as looking one way. And then, 15, 20 years later, they were a different way. Now they're completely. How do you know? How do you know what a dinosaur looked like unless you saw one? Nobody that's alive nowadays has seen a dinosaur unless you're still running around, which is possible. But it's all guesswork. You know that. I mean, that's all science is for the most part, is looking at the facts and making your best guess about these things that are no longer around, like Neanderthals and dinosaurs and things like that. I mean, you can't say definitively that this is what this thing looked like that's not walking around right now.
Well, this is allegedly what they labeled an early Neanderthal skull.
Mm.
Okay. Well, we saw the other one, the other Neanderthal skull in the other image.
Yeah.
Well, it looked mostly human. I mean, let me see if I can go back to it. There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that. For the most part, it looks like just an oblong version of the human skull. But then we look at this one. How do we? What makes this a Neanderthal skull? If the other one's a Neanderthal skull and it looks vaguely human, this has a sagittal crest. Yep. This has a pronounced eyebrow ridge. The nose is recessed compared to the jaws.
No bridge.
Yep.
Yep.
So
cheekbones as well are completely different.
Right.
Yep.
So this is something else entirely.
Yeah.
Although they're labeling it a Neanderthal skull, it looks nothing like the other one.
What was interesting, what Robbie was saying about the dinosaur thing, was that you've heard of the ecostones?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, the ecostones and all thousands upon thousands of figurines that they found, some of them have markings on the dinosaurs that they said was just silly and ridiculous, just adding cool things to art, And then they found they even asked some of the tribesmen from the Congo that seen
Mbembe.
Yeah, and they described a specific thing that they noticed on the skin, and then they actually found some petrified skin of dinosaurs, and sure enough, there was the same designs and circles that were on these stones and these figurines.
How would they know to put these pictures on those Inca stones, Jesus?
Right?
I got a theory on this.
Right.
DA, my theory's pretty good, ain't it? They just got on the Googles and typed in Stegosaurus, And the picture came up. So then they get their hammer and chisel, and they went over on their Lincoln Stone, and they looking back at the Googles over there and making their little. That's how they did. That's my theory, anyway. I think it's pretty good.
You never know. You never know, right?
Picturing the Flintstone internet. You know, you go start typing, a bird goes and flies somewhere and gets the information and flies it back.
Yeah.
And then types it, types it out on your piece of slate.
Box and taps it out with the hammer and chisel.
Right.
Or like the fox from the Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, that makes the killer whale sound or the dolphin sound.
Yep.
Fox them.
That's hilarious. I was trying to find this picture. All the dinosaur talk just reminded me of it. Really interesting is like right now I'm using a cane, and the woman that I lived with, she called me her son. I called her mom in the Navajo Res, and helped her out a lot. She had a cane. She passed away, and I got the cane, and it has the head of a pterodactyl on it, right? And then you hear, other stories of the thunderbird and pterodactyls being seen still on some reservations. And I've been doing my research in the mountains and ancient, carvings and the ruins. In one of the pictures, it's got to be on the damn what I'm using. Well, I'll send it to you for the next round. But I got an actual pictograph on a cliff face in our mountains here, which nobody's ever seen or taken pictures of. I've taken over 22,000 pictures of these mountains now and the cliffs and analyzing them. And I found a painting, I guess you could call it. That's why I said pictograph. I don't think it's a petroglyph of a pterodactyl, full body with the head, everything, wings, which I think is pretty wild because they just found, here in White Sands where I live, near where I live. It's about 13 miles from where I'm at. They, not recently, but a few years ago, I think it was 2017 or something. The footprints that they found, going through White Sands National Monument, which screws up the whole land bridge idea and by thousands of years. And what they don't mention is that some of those footprints are 22 inches long. And my research places Sasquatch running back and forth still to this day from, where I'm at, farther down the mountain range, all the way to Juarez, Mexico, and El Paso and Las Cruces area, which they have to run right through there, and they have footprints there. And there's a ton of megafauna footprints, camels, all kinds of cool stuff that you wouldn't think is here. So I just think it's really fascinating that I'm finding these different animals. I even found, I believe, possibly the skeleton of a mammoth in our mountains. I've just been able to zoom in into like places people won't go hiking, and I'm just getting as close as I can to that area without getting under it too far, so I can still see it and zoom in. And it looks like mastodon skeleton, and just so many weird things here. It makes sense, like why these were the sacred mountains to the Apache people. And it's wild.
Is that on that place behind your house that you showed me that time we were talking about?
Yep, all that area. Yeah.
This is one of the prints from White Sands.
Oh, nice. What do you think? It looks like it has a mid-tarsal break, doesn't it?
It does.
Yep. It sure do.
Those are definitely splayed.
Yep. And looks like maybe there's maybe there's a scar or something right there where it's impacted a little bit deeper.
That could be, but it could also be, aging of the print. I mean, these things are thousands of years old.
Yeah, but if you've got a lot of scar tissue built up, that would still indent it like that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's neat how the toes are splayed like something that has not worn shoes
ever.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
And Another thing, you see how the dirt is kind of pulled up to almost like a ramp in the where the toe meets the foot.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of it just going straight down, it kind of that's indicative of when it's standing, it's digging its toes into the ground to get better traction. To when it so if that's take off running, it's not just standing there flat footed. It's standing there. It's ready for action basically because it's digging in. Its toes are digging into the ground. That's why that dirt's pulled up towards the back of the toe pad like that.
Yep.
Because if it was just standing flat, you wouldn't have that dig back.
Yep. I agree. I'm just sending some quick pictures to you of some of the weird stuff that I found in the mountain.
Okay.
I know this sounds silly as hell, but there's a statue somewhere in my mountains, okay? And it looks like Yoda from Star Wars holding a crystal ball. I find a bunch of crystal balls, like shiny spheres that are part of the carvings that I'm finding. And it blows my mind. Okay. There you go. I just sent you some stuff.
Okay. Let me get these all downloaded and moved into the file.
From I'll talk while you do that.
Okay.
What I'm finding in these mountains here, on almost the majority of the face of this whole mountain range, which are the Sacramento Mountains in southern New Mexico, the Lincoln County National Forest, it looks like almost every cliff face that I can see has what looks like giant temple carvings. Like if you go to the Aztec pyramids or anything, how they have the carvings all over everything, same thing, but with just ridiculous erosion, on them. Oh yeah, this is, I put that so you can see that in the middle you have that big hole.
Wrong way.
No worries. In the middle you have the big hole, and if you look carefully, you see those two black curved things. Mm-hmm. You can see a whole rib cage right there in the middle. I know it's blurry, but like I said, I am at 100x zoom into a mountain, way up high.
Hey, DA, Lori wanted to know where that footprint that you just showed was from.
I found it searching White Sands prints on Google.
Yep, it's just White Sands National Monument footprints. So you're gonna look up, it'll pop up. But yeah, this is the Patty's scar on her arm, and the Sasquatch I took a picture of here in New Mexico. Same scarring, same arm area, everything. That's just cleaned up and sharpened way, way a lot. But it's raised, it's given shadow, so it's a raised scar, which, like I said, I've done tattoos and brandings, since for over 30 years. So I recognize a keloid scar. But yeah, that's what that was. Bailey, not as sharpened.
And where did you take that picture at?
Which one?
The Bailey one. Where did you take that at?
Right here in Cloudcroft, New Mexico, in Bailey Canyon. That's the same place where I got the pictures of the Sasquatches looking in my tent when they're picking through, and then the one where it's like behind me,
over the top of your tent.
Yeah, that's the same exact.
Yep, I remember you showing me that one.
And then,
it was on the Navajo res where you found that horse that had its leg torn off.
Yeah. That was up on Farmington, by the Four Corners area, right there. Yeah, one of the Bigfoots had ripped off the hind leg of a horse the day before. I had showed up there after just filming one and shaking off after it, trying to chase it.
That takes a tremendous amount of strength to rip a horse's leg off.
Oh man, that's ridiculous. It's like I said, try grabbing a chicken and ripping off its leg. Just a chicken, and you'll be there for a minute, And so the whole damn horse, that's ridiculous. The strength involved.
Medically speaking, Steve, how much force would it take to be able to rip a horse's hind leg off?
Oh hell, one person couldn't do it for sure.
That's mechanical.
You could barely do it with a truck.
Yeah, you'd have to literally strap on a whole truck and put everything possible to hold down the rest of the body, just so it would start to tear there, And I don't know, just like was it on those forests, the loggers, when they had their tractors, their big yellow tractors, put on their sides. those things weigh 50,000 pounds.
Yep.
It's like, did they have to try hard? Was there two of them doing it? Is that nothing to them? You know,
if it could do just one, if one of them did it by itself, that's a terrifying thought.
well, that's
Well, hell, even if it took two of them, that's still terrifying.
yeah.
Because if two of them can do that, one of them can fairly well relocate every part of your body from where it normally is supposed to be.
Yeah,
That's why I tell people when they want to go out hunting, I'm like, you understand that this animal can go at your head like nothing, just boop, gone, your head's off.
I think there's a reason Heath wrote that into his books. That
twisting motion.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, it's amazing. Just I don't know the stories I've heard, of course, but just I don't know. I'm still not sure what the heck a Bigfoot still is.
So, what do you think about some people's belief that these are just the gentle giant of the woods, and that they don't do any harm, and if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone?
Well, did you get a number down there? Looks like you got a number.
So it says that I just literally using ChatGPT to search for me because I'm being lazy. So just the weakest part of the horse's rear leg that you would potentially pop is the SDF tendon. And so it's going to be basically the tendon that attaches the hip. So if you disarticulated the hip joint,
Right.
all right, that tendon has a tensile strength, or the amount of strength it would take to tear it this way, of 12,000 newtons. That converts to about 2,700 foot-pounds of force.
That's ridiculous.
So basically, if you were trying to break that said object and you had a 1 foot lever, it would take 2,700 pounds of pull on that lever to pop that. That's a lot.
That's pretty.
That's a lot.
Well, you know, when they drawn and quartered humans in the Middle Ages, you know, they would put, you know, tie them to 4 horses and each one would go a different cardinal direction.
Right.
Just to disarticulate them,
Yeah.
they were using 4 draft horses.
That certainly explains that disarticulated deer we found in Combs Ferry. It just grabbed it and pulled it off.
Yeah. The strength is insane. But to that other question about, I think they're just gentle giants. I think because we've heard of so many variations of Sasquatch, and so many different stories of how they've acted around people, and I think they're just like humans. Some are hippies, some are blood-hungry cannibals, some are, you know, interested in us more than just being nice, you know, and all kinds of different ways. So yeah, I think that it's a full range from Big Ben to King Kong with rabies. You know what I mean?
I'll agree with that, and I think I've kind of said that same sort of answer, that, you know, just like dogs. Every dog has a different personality. Every cat has a different personality. I mean, you know, why can't these things? Da, you want to play the
well, in a second, I wanted to bring something else up. This was shared on a Bigfoot on a Bigfoot Facebook group. Michigan. It was a group out of Michigan, but I thought it was just too good not to share. And they were talking about people, you know, saying in the group were saying, but they're not dangerous. They're just misunderstood. And they compiled these stats from thousands upon thousands of cases of documented Bigfoot sightings. There's 1,475 reports of them looking in windows, 829 reports of people being killed, 530 reports of people being hurt, 59 reports of Bigfoot Good Samaritan acts, like actually helping people, 3,353 reports of house and car poundings, 1,638 reports of chasing or charging animals, cars, and people, 618 reports of abductions or attempted abductions, 1,378 reports of property damage, 320, property. There you go. 327 collisions, 1,444 thrown objects, 3,014 Leo involvement, 247 reports of forced entry into a home, 858 reports of stolen food, 2,786 reports of them watching children, 9,551 reports of aggressive Bigfoots, 1,818 reports of Bigfoot gunfire responses to Bigfoot, and 17,090 reports of Bigfoot incursions in and around private occupied homes.
Yep. Exactly.
So if you want to think they're the gentle giant of the woods, remember that guy. Remember that guy that called himself the Grizzly Man. He'd gone out among those grizzly bears dozens of times, but it only took the one for him to get eaten.
Oh yeah. Well, it was like out of all the times that I've been out hunting, with my camera and a recorder, but only one time did I ever feel. Well, 2 times did I ever feel scared, worried, at all. Was the first time in early 2000 when me and my friend got chased by one because we threw rocks at it. But if it wanted to get us, it would have.
Self-correcting error, right?
It was pissed off and just scaring the crap out of us. And then later, this is much more recent. Let's say about a couple years ago, 3 years ago maybe. And I found a teepee. I'll send you those pictures too. Found a teepee, right there. And as I got closer to the teepee, one of them did the stomping thing. Doom, 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 doom on the ground. And holy crap, I'm a big dude. And I've been around, all kinds of construction sites, and it felt like those giant pneumatic hammers that they bring a tractor and it has a big giant boom, 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 boom like that, but in the middle of the forest up a hill by a structure.
Like the auto hammers that blacksmiths use.
Yeah.
So
man,
I've been crunching some numbers while DA was going to those other numbers. So, let's say, because you're probably the biggest of us, Jesus, let's say you stumble across a recently dead horse out in the field and you want to test how much force it's going to take to pull its leg off. Now, if you were standing on it and pulling up, like doing a big bicep curl,
right,
the bicep brachii can generate a maximum of about 192 foot-pounds of force. So, Jesus could do that much. To get the horse's leg off, you need 2,700.
About 300 Jesuses.
Let's just say that somebody needs some more Jesus. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so 2,700 versus 192. Yeah, it's going to take supernatural Jesus to rip that off.
Yep. And it left it there. It didn't take the leg with it. It wasn't hungry. It was literally almost everybody had moved out of the area. All the houses were abandoned, and there was only a couple left by the San Juan River that have refused to leave.
So it killed it as a warning.
Oh yeah, it's just been doing more and more and more aggressive, over time, and they're even selling beer from people's porches. We were out there in that area, and we found beers that were, of course, if it got hot outside, beer will explode, I'm sure, but these ones had fang mark, like canine marks in it. Some of them had huge thumbprints squished and made the top pop. You could see the thumbprints in the cans. So they had no respect. Those Sasquatch in that area were real mean by the San Juan River. And yeah, that was the one. I don't know if I showed you. I showed you that picture of the Sasquatch throwing me the finger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so same area. They don't like each other. Everybody there.
Well, that was that same spot where you had that video of the one running along the river, right?
Yeah.
Because that's on your channel. I've watched that video probably a dozen times.
Yeah.
And they're just as fast as that thing's moving. Yeah, it covers an impressive amount of territory in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it took me a long time just to get to that area and to follow it that long. Yeah, it was moving. It was definitely moving. And Thinker Thunker did a video on it too. I went out to that spot and took a picture, and you can see from the picture, because I had the person stand where I took the picture from up by the highway, and you can see my bald head and that I was wearing shorts. My face was a blur, of course. You couldn't see no details in my face that well, but when I did the side by side with the zoomed in part of the Sasquatch when it was walking, there was at least a foot above my head. I'm 6'3", so yeah, it was crazy.
Hey, if you want a little bit more maths to make your skin crawl, I was just figuring out what it would take to do what happened to that deer leg that we found up in the tree. Specifically, that tendon in the front leg. It takes about 1,125 foot-pounds of force.
So we couldn't have done it.
Not with biceps. The easiest way, if we were standing on the carcass, basically bicep curling it off, which is how I would try to do it probably if it was just me. It would take 50% more force than I can generate, or that Jesus could generate.
And it's like I watch all the
scary.
strongman competitions, and the I think the heaviest curl done ever, just a straight curl flat against the back, is 300 pounds.
Yeah, something like that.
Eddie Hall couldn't do it.
Man. You know what I mean? And they couldn't pull that themselves.
That's just astounding.
Well, I mean, you think about it. Thor just broke the deadlift world record, 505 kilos, and that's what 11, or a little over 1,000 pounds, right? Like
1103 or 1105.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like
that. That makes him probably the statically strongest human being on the planet right now. That's moving over 1,000 pounds from the ground, above your knees, mid thighs. That's still not enough strength.
That's with training. These guys aren't even training. This is just natural. The strength they got. It's ridiculous. Like you guys saw that the Thinker Thunker did a video a long time ago of a Bigfoot throwing a tree. You see a white the aspen getting thrown, stuff like that. It's just superhuman stuff. It's just straight up literally like the Incredible Hulk.
Kevin Bode says that's another one. How much pressure does it take to squeeze open a beer can? Yeah, that takes a lot of strength just to crush one open.
Yeah. Because I can't do it. I know that. I have to go like this, to make one explode.
Bite into it.
To answer that, there is a guy who trains those specific kind of things. He's not a real big guy, but Brian Shaw and Eddie Hall did a reaction video to him.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And they was bending the hammers.
Yeah, but then Brian and Eddie, who are two of the strongest strongmen that we've ever had, between the two of them, couldn't do some of the stuff he was doing. So this guy's probably just like genetically freakish. Like he's got just insane fast twitch muscles, because that would be a fast twitch muscle, right, Steve? To do something like that.
In a quick force like that, yeah.
So he's probably just like genetically gifted. So you got one and God knows how many that can do a feat like that. Whereas this thing's probably just doing it just to play around, just to see what it is.
Yeah, but it was like I said, it was in the middle of the desert, on the reservation, and it's like ain't nobody on that reservation needs to go hide in the desert to drink a 12-pack, like that. None of them were pop top though. None of them have been popped, like how you would normally open a can. None of them. They were all empty. They were all messed up, but not one of them had the top pop.
How funny.
So it basically drove everybody out of their homes along that section of the river.
Oh yeah. Well, that was some of the arguments people had. They saw the video. They were like, "Oh, there's houses back there. Those are just people walking back and forth. Those are houses." Right? It's like you have no idea what's going on this reservation, man. And some of the pictures I have of some of the Sasquatch in the bushes in that area, I mean, they look like demons, man. Like some scurry looking faces. I mean,
there's a researcher out there, Brenda
Harris. Yeah.
Brenda Harris. She was telling a story one time. I watched a podcast with her. She was telling a story that there was an older couple on the res, and nobody'd seen them for a few days, and they went to check on them, and their front door, their trailer had been torn off, and they were just gone.
Yep. Brenda Harris was. I took her and her family, stayed with them for 2 weeks, and that's where I had my first Bigfoot conference up there on that res, and I have a picture right here.
If you could make the introductions, dude, I would love to get her on the show.
Sure, I can see what I can do, man.
That would be awesome.
Okay, right here. I'm gonna send you another picture real quick.
Okay.
This is at her property in. I was showing them how to cast, and we found juvenile footprints. Okay, so right now it'll come right now on the messenger. All right, here we go. All right, it should be there.
Okay, I will bring that up.
Stone feet. Those are right in the middle of the San Juan River on a sand little island in the middle. And like I said, that river is not 1 foot 2 feet. You know, it's a good deep river. So the area we went to, you know, on me, I'd say I was at least waist deep, maybe at the most, by the time I got to that sand embankment, but in the middle of the river. Yeah, there you go. I just thought it was such a cute little Flintstone foot.
You think that's a juvenile?
I think so. But it could be a midget. Bigfoot. It seemed there was quite a few tracks there that were, it looked from like, it was this size. There was I'd say my hand from the bottom of my palm to the tip of my finger is 9 inches. Okay, so that was
still a decent sized track.
Yeah, so it's about a 7-inch little track. So to me that's a little
Troyer Bigfoot.
You know, right. Because I had I compared I always would put my shoe next to the footprints because I wear size 15s and 16s. So if the footprint makes my foot look tiny, you know it's a serious size footprint because the majority of people, the average people out there, don't have that size. That's like NBA sizes on up, and that's not a common foot.
Yeah, a typical shoe store sells 13 and under. Yeah. And the average man shoe size is a size 10.
Yeah, so when I go looking for shoes, it sucks. And they'll be like, do they have your size? I'm like, no, they just have normal people size. I have to go to Ross. Ross
get on the phone like, Shaq, can you hook me up with some leftovers, some hand-me-downs?
Well, that was the funny thing when I got my surgery. I was reading the surgeon's report, and his one complaint was it was hard to work on my foot because he said he's never worked on a gigantic foot before. I just thought it was hilarious because they didn't tell me he had wrote that. I requested my records, and I was reading through the stuff. I was like, oh, hell no, he didn't. I was like, come on. Man. It was funny.
That's funny.
You got to love those reading some of those reports. That's one of the funnest parts of my job as a nurse is getting to read some of these doctors' dictations. Yeah. When I had my shoulder surgery, they referred to me as well nourished, and that cracked me up because I was about 250 then.
Mine was a 6-hour surgery, and it replaced tendons and bolted my tibia to my fibula, and did cut my cuboid in half, cut my heel bone in half, bolted them all together. I mean, it's a mess. All right.
You don't do anything small when you hurt yourself, do you?
No.
If you're gonna do it right.
Oh yeah.
I dare you. Want to play the sound for him?
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear Jason's.
Once you give him the background on it while I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
Big homie. So this probably in the neighborhood of 10, 12 miles away from where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Something activated a Ring doorbell camera almost a year ago. It was in August of last year that this was recorded. So whatever activated it activated it at the right time, and then you hear something, and when it plays, you'll know exactly what you're listening to. But the weird thing about it is the Facebook group that we found it in. There were people in there saying, "Oh yeah, we hear this kind of stuff up up these hills and this actually kind of played into my first book. I actually wrote this into the book because of this story. So it's pretty interesting. So whenever you're ready, DA.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. What do y'all think of that?
I saw the head come in. I was like, "Yep."
Wow.
It's definitely swamp gas.
Uh-huh.
Refracting off of Mars.
Yep. Venus. That's terrifying.
That's definitely a big canine of some kind.
Yeah.
I was sitting here next to me, and he started
Pagan.
whining when you played it.
Look at Pagan's comment.
What did he say? I didn't see it.
Oh, great.
Scared the boy.
My kitten's hearing it for the
That's the same
first
look I
time
had.
in the semi right now.
It scared him to death.
Yep.
What do you think?
No, I don't think that's any of the local normal fauna. I would say in your area we know it. Well, you got mountain lion where you're at, right?
Yeah.
Don't sound like no mountain lion. I'll tell you that.
We got wolves that don't.
That's not no wolf. Hell no, I know unless it's a different kind of wolf that stand up on two legs and run around. But yeah, that's a real growl, howl, roar, like a roar, more like a roar, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't have that many
grizzlies
roars.
out there where you are, do you,
And-
Jed?
No, I don't think there's been any grizzlies around here in a long time. Black bears, yeah,
For south.
yeah, but
But again,
So black bear's
that didn't sound like a bear.
no.
And I know all the bears out here and the way they sound, and no, not bear, not lions. That sounds more like I've heard Sasquatch calls like that. You
Well,
know?
saying that that's what most of the people in the comment section were saying was they hear those they call a lot of them will call them yowls, YOWLS.
Yeah.
And then some people were saying yells, but then some people were saying, well, that don't sound like some of the ones that I've heard. That sounds like something different. I personally think, because this is not far from my dad's house, and I found a wolf track, no kidding, about that big around out behind my dad's shop. So I think there might be something else around.
I got an experiment I'm going to try. Give me just a second. I just had a sudden burst of thought, and we'll see if this works. If so, we're gonna play a couple of sounds that back to back.
I want to get one of those analyzers, the programs.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
Because there's so much that we could get done, and yeah, it's good. Get it.
Pagan said the kitten won't come out from under the seat now. Sorry, Pagan.
Well,
Sorry, dude.
Kenai was whimpering at my leg, which he hadn't been doing all night, so he got a little scared. Of course, he's just scrawny.
No, we've been having something every night. I've been waking up at about 3:30 for the last week, and I live out here in the desert. There's but every 5 acres there's a house, maybe, for like 6 houses, and then there's just desert, and then we go out to White Sands Missile Range. So I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's no traffic, pitch dark. I have my horse out here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dogs outside, and yeah, they're usually quiet, and just once in a while some coyotes will come by and they'll bark or whatever. But every night at 3 o'clock, and I've dealt with some weird animals out here on the paranormal, world. Yeah, but every night they've been coming back out here. Something's been coming out, messing with us by our windows, and the dogs have been going in circles out there and losing their minds for about an hour every night at the same time. But that 3 o'clock thing.
Well, curiously enough, that was around 2:30, 3 o'clock when that was recorded.
Okay,
Here we go.
you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to play the Dogman howl again, and then I'm going to play a grizzly bear roar. You ready? Here we go.
Here we go. What do y'all think?
Okay, now here's the grizzly bear.
That's scary too. Don't get me wrong, but totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I heard that on the outside of my tent, I'd be looking to unask the AO, as Doc would put it. But yeah, those are not the same.
Nope. And it's like there's with like say lions, actual lions from the king of the jungle, and bears here. They both have the of course on different levels, but it's more of a pushing out.
Yeah. Well, I saw
the dogman sound. That's a whole different projection.
Now we need to tell Jesus about me, you, and Doc in Moon Valley, and tell him what happened and see what he.
Go ahead, bro.
Saying okay, so last time me and Doc went down to Missouri to hang out with DA, we go to Moon Valley, and I'm gonna try to cut the story short to get to the good parts for it, but we went out earlier, still kind of daylight, didn't see anything, so we said, okay, we'll come back when it gets a little bit darker. So we get back out, we start getting kitted up. DA does his tongue pop, we've talked about that. Nothing. I do a whoop. Nothing. Doc does an owl call, and he specifically did an owl call that it's like an owl out west.
West Coast.
West Coast version. Nothing that was there. Nothing. I looked at DA and said, I want to try something. He said, what do you want to try? I said, I want to try something a little different. So I did a wolf, or basically a dogman howl. Jesus, the second I got done, something replied using the copy and Doc's owl call exactly. The second I got done.
I think what we did was, I don't think that they wanted dogmen in their valley.
Right.
And they came in on us pretty fast.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah. We almost, me and Robbie almost got ourselves cut off. Because like the not so sharp tax that we are, we decided when Doc spotted something on thermal, we were just going to go look.
Yeah, that sounds about right, huh?
Yeah,
we're wacky like that.
Yeah, I mean,
so Robbie and I headed over there, and my son Noah had a 30-30 rifle, and he was on the bridge with Doc. And while Robbie and I we probably got 50, 60 yards away from Noah and Doc, and we were heading toward where Doc was seeing thermal. And he told us, he said, I'm going to cut the thermal, light that area up. And as soon as we lit it up we had headlamps on. As soon as we lit that area up, we saw two, like upper body, the shapes, the sagittal crest. They ducked back behind the tree as soon as we lit the area up. Turn the lights back off. Doc pops them, Doc catches them immediately coming back out on thermal. So Robbie and I get closer. We probably got within about 10 or 15 yards of where those things were in the trees. And that's when Doc spotted a third one that was moving to cut us off.
he's like, boys, come back. Whoa.
So that's kind of like, it reminds me of how a lot of people, they'll tell me that I'm crazy for going in certain areas without a 45 or whatever. When I'm going to specific areas with this, where their habitat is a Sasquatch, right? And I just sent you my only dogman photos I believe I have, dogman photo.
Okay.
that I took. But I never have been in an area that I know is habituated by Sasquatches or whatever else. The usual other apex predators in the area, they won't go near it. Never a bear, never any. I mean, I know the area real well. My mom worked 20 years at the forest department. I know that place really well. And those specific areas, I never encountered any other besides deer and elk, the squirrels, birds, stuff like that. But never would I find any type of evidence, prints, kills, anything from any other apex predators in the area. Outside of where the Bigfoots were, I definitely would find those things. I isolated it so you could see what I sent 3 pictures all together, but this is I isolated what I could see. You could see there's a body there with it, but I just thought the face and ears were really important.
That looks just like what was in the tree behind you, DA, when you and Steve were out.
Does.
Doesn't it, Steve?
Head shape is almost identical.
Yep. I'm really glad
I don't think
chose
that's
to
a
see just a
Sasquatch.
few minutes ago.
No, that's definitely not a Sasquatch.
No.
No.
I mean, for one thing, if the head shape is more like like a wolf, and you
Right.
can see the ears.
Well, and it's in that transitional posture that we see them in sometimes, where they're not quite up on all fours or up on 2 legs, but they're not down on all fours either.
Steve
They're
is
kinda
leaning
hunched over.
out
Yeah.
from behind that tree, just like the one was doing y'all that night. That's the exact.
Yep.
It's just on the other side. This one's leaning out on this side. The one y'all had was leaning out on the other side. But it's the exact same pose.
Yep.
That was the
Yeah.
last thing I expected to find in my picture.
And DA, that's exactly what that one that we saw that me and Taylor and Tyler and Johnny and all saw in the LBL that night down the hill, but it was leaning out like that around that tree. Remember I told you there was a tree down there? That's how I found exactly where it was at. Same thing.
And this is what we took down in Joe Bald.
Yep. Same thing.
Oops,
Wow.
that's not it.
Where's the enhanced? There you go.
See? Exact
Head shape is almost identical.
Yep.
It's just peeking around the opposite side of the tree than the
And you can see the hand on the
Hand.
tree.
That's what I thought. I was like, is that a hand? Look like fingers.
That's what I thought it was.
And this is it, just a direct still from the video. It's right here.
Yep, I see it.
that will make the
That's
back
as much as I can zoom in. But even just zoomed in, you can see it.
Yep. That makes the hair on the back of your neck stick up.
Yeah, considering we were 30 feet away from that.
Or considering that me, you, and Doc and Noah walked up in there knowing what was what y'all had found up there.
Yeah.
'Cause we crossed that bridge and went up into that. We actually stood right there at that tree.
Oh yeah. I was in the pitch dark by myself. My parents went inside the RV they brought, or travel trailer, and I was sitting out there because they were hearing all kinds of noises. Even heard a like that. So I didn't even expect to get a picture of the dog, man. You know what I mean? I was like, holy crap, they were all out there last night. Yep. You can see the ears.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what the night me, you, and Noah was down there, DA. I feel like that was what was the eye shine we were seeing and what was moving off in
Oh, I definitely agree.
it in that little hunting blind. I feel like that's definitely what that was.
We've seen some things.
Yeah, real glad that I didn't see that one live.
Yeah. It wasn't even, we didn't even see it later. I mean, it was like a year later, somebody pointed it out in the video. We never even saw it.
This happened to me in one of my videos. It's where me and my mom, we find what looks like 3 pieces of logs intertwined around the tree. And you hear, at the time when we were there, we thought it was dogs barking, which we're in the middle of nowhere. There shouldn't be any dogs barking. It wasn't dogs barking. Turns out, and not till years later did a viewer put comments saying, "Hey, there's something black in the background ducking up and down," and had never noticed it at all. Never thought about it, and then once I analyze it, then yeah, sure enough, there's something in the background sticks up with big old ears. Head goes up, head goes down, head goes up, down. Yeah, well, it's amazing some of the viewers, the stuff that they find that we didn't notice, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's when a lot of stuff, when you're not looking for stuff, that's when a lot of stuff shows up.
Yep.
That's why I'm going to start whenever we go out. I'm going to start putting my GoPro on the back of my backpack facing behind me.
Yep. Well, it's just like how I got that selfie, that picture of the Sasquatch behind that log in the daytime looking at me. I had to do it like pretending I was taking a picture of myself, so they wouldn't think I was seeing it over my shoulder. I was just like do, you know, and there it was.
It's like that juvenile that Les Stroud caught crossing the trail behind him.
Yep.
You know,
Mhm.
it just happened.
He hated me for that video. A bunch of the viewers were asking me to do a breakdown of that one. If you go through my list of my videos, you'll see that one. They'll show a picture of Les Stroud, and yeah, man, he got annoyed because they kept on tagging him with my breakdown of that thing jumping in the background, and he goes, "It's a black leaf, Earl. It's a black leaf." He didn't want to talk about it. He was so mad.
Phyllis asked if I had seen anything in person. To my knowledge, I haven't seen anything in person. I've been in the vicinity when stuff is going on, but the trip that they had with the thermals, I was at work that night and wasn't part of that little posse.
You were there in Combs Ferry, though, and I'm pretty sure we
Ferry,
made a believer out of you that night.
Oh yeah, I heard the noises, and I definitely felt like bait by the end of it. You know, since I was wounded.
There was stuff moving around us in the trees. We were getting little rocks thrown at us. You could hear grunts.
That's close enough, man. You ain't got
That was a hairy. No pun intended. That was a hairy night.
right.
Well, you know, I was doing the Jaws math when we started hearing those noises. You're going to need a bigger gun because you know I came armed for meth head, and you know, worst case scenario, I could put one in my own head, or you take out the knee of a buddy. But it's what it took for me to escape.
Yep.
I wasn't trying to think about putting down a Bigfoot with it.
Right, aim for the toes. We can't chase you. You know.
Yeah, we just got to make sure we shoot for your good leg with you, because all that titanium in there, it'll just ricochet off and you'll get pissed.
Eric from the Bizarre and the Unknown has a question for you. Jesus says, have you noticed an increase of cryptid, paranormal, or supernatural activity in your area?
I would say more paranormal and supernatural in this area has gone up quite a bit, and I think that has to do with well, of course, with the shifting of energies and all that fun stuff. But I think a huge part of it is because of people on drugs. People are opening up a lot of doorways and not shutting them, and that's the one thing that like with a lot of the different tribes I've dealt with, is the reason why you had to be a medicine man or on a serious quest and trained for it, and then you don't eat and drink water for 3 days or sleep. It opens specific doorways, and when you get a bunch of people on meth and they're staying up for weeks, days at a time, not eating, not drinking, those same doorways are opening and they're letting in all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's staying out and traveling and following people. And I've been experiencing more things myself as of late, more than usual that I experience, which is too much already. But yeah, no, I've definitely noticed an uptick in the supernatural. I'd say for cryptids around here, it's been mainly I'd say on average, the usual oddness and people seeing stuff. But I've been hearing more reports of ghosts and shadow peoples and weird, evil stuff in the night. Like they said, something's been coming out here and causing some troubles. One night it was about 4:30 in the morning. I'll be up sometimes all night doing my research. And one morning, like I said, middle of nowhere, pitch dark, no lights, no cars, no nothing. If anybody comes near me, the dogs go crazy. But on this morning, I hear right outside my little research trailer that I had next to my house, I hear right outside the kind of the window. And I'm like, I just get quiet, and then I hear it again. And I was like, oh, hell no. It sounded like, to me, it sounded like it wanted me to come out. Like, it was like, come on out,
You're like,
And I had only one person I
look at
knew.
the time.
Oh, man. The only one person I knew who would be awake at that time was a friend of mine that opened up a restaurant in the morning. But he lived about 4 or 5 miles away. And I called him up and I was like, hey, dude, by chance, are you outside my trailer messing with me, dog? And he was like, no, man, no. And I was like, I just heard the craziest whistle. And he said, me too, dude. He was like, me too. He was like, yeah. And he did the whistle. I didn't tell him the whistle. He did the whistle. And he was, I heard the whistle. I looked outside. And he said he saw about a 4-foot tall owl with red glowing eyes outside in the front of his house. And,
4-foot owl?
Yeah. And
that's scary enough without the red eyes.
Hell yeah. And he was meet me at the restaurant and you can help me open up. And I took off, got in my truck, and we met up at the restaurant. And it was a few days before that I was doing a tattoo on him, and the door on my little research trailer, I did tattoos and my Bigfoot stuff. The door slammed open, smashed the window, and right by our heads where we were, I heard a disembodied voice go, hello, like that. And he just looked at me. He goes, is it cool if we call this the first session? He goes, I'm gonna go ahead and go now. I was like, you're good, bro. And we both got the hell out of there. And yeah, there's all kinds of weirdness out here. It's crazy.
So do you think it was the creature that the Navajo refused to name?
I think that was in that realm, but I think a little worse. I think it was an actual demon spirit, not just the walker, But yeah, I think it was a specific thing that came a knocking. Been opening. I've been around so much and gone to so many houses and trying to rid spirits and people possessed and the alien thing and then the Bigfoot thing, and it's like it gets so enveloping. And when all these creatures know or you sense them, the more they want to mess with you and visit you, and then they prey upon you and try to hope that you're in some sort of state of mind that they can, mess with you.
It's the same thing with cryptids. I mean, once you've accepted that they're there, you start noticing things you didn't normally notice.
Yep.
So I have a question for you, and this one was put to me the other day by a lady that sent me a rather extensive email. What advice would you give to somebody that's trying to keep one away from their house?
A Bigfoot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one seems to work.
It's taking farm animals. It stalks her when she goes out to feed the animals. It makes noise from the trees. It waits till her husband's gone to come close to the house.
Well, I would say this won't cure it. Or nothing. Be like, I'm going to take your picture. This is a camera. I'm putting one here, here, and here, and here. You know what I mean? And from what we have all experienced as researchers, they don't like cameras, especially when they know where the damn cameras are and what they're for. So I would say that's the only recourse I could imagine, besides hoping that, scary Bigfoots don't like, Jesus or something, but other than that, that's the only thing I've ever heard of people that when they put up the cameras, like that's why I don't like using trap cams too often in the areas that I do my research, because as soon as those go up, they move out. They go to another
I believe they can see the IR, that IR beam.
Oh yeah. So I'm, and that's when you're being sneaky. So, that they're out there. They're not stupid. They know what's going on. They know what cameras are because they avoid them like the plague. So talk to them. Tell them what the hell you're doing, because that's what I do. I don't treat them like stupid animals. I'll talk to them. I know they understand something. And but that's the only advice I could give if you truly want them to stay away from a certain area. Camera up and let them know.
think that's great. That's good advice. That's similar to what I told her. I said, I told her, I said, I believe that they can see the IR spectrum, that they see the lights from game cameras.
Yep.
So I told her, go on Amazon and buy those motion sensor solar lights and just hang them everywhere.
Yep. Because it wasn't that in was it Hanobia or Hanobi in Hanobi where they were moving the cameras out of the so they wouldn't get them in the pictures and stuff. They were starting to move them in the sensors and yeah, so it's like they seem to have issues with those. So if you put plenty around the area you want to keep safe, let them know. Tell them. They'll be like, shit, excuse me. But yeah, I can imagine because they're not stupid, man. They are very cunning, individuals. I'll just say that.
I think that's good advice. Had a kind of a backup question to that. Let's say for example, you're not near home. What if you're camping with your family, camping with your friends, and you start noticing aggressive behavior? What's the best advice you would give people?
Leave immediately. I would say that's the best advice would be get in a vehicle and turn on the stereo nice and loud and don't listen to no sounds and just drive. Go. Get out. Turn on lights. Don't look back. Just leave. If you feel that there's some kind of aggressive anything in that area, let alone bears or whatever, but when you're messing with the dogmen and the Bigfoots and all them other crazy creatures, if they're willing to show you aggression to where you can notice it, it's time to go. That's their warning to you saying, hey, here's your chance. Better run. It's about to get
take it.
Yep. You got to take those warnings that animals give you, humans give you. Just unless you're Superman or something, don't do it. Unless, or you're one of our crazy asses where you turn around and take pictures.
Well, even we've gone into areas where we're like, you know what? I think this is probably a real good time for us to get the hell out of here.
Would you
Right.
look at the time?
Well, when the Doc and these two knuckleheads and Noah went down there to, was it Moon Valley? At the time they were there, they were like the third largest standing militia in Missouri, and they still got the hell out
We
of
were
it.
well armed.
They're like, nope.
It wasn't like our trip to the campgrounds that I was at where we all had handguns of various calibers. These guys, there was a 458, there was a 30-06, a 30-30 shotgun. I mean, they were armed by armed for bear, basically.
Numerous
And,
pew-pews with a large variety of freedom seeds.
Right.
and and like I said, they still decided that they had to unass that area pretty quick.
Well, we've said it many times. Our intention is not to try to kill one.
Yep.
And I would rather get out of the area than be forced into a situation where I've got to kill one.
Well, absolutely. I don't want to kill it or become,
Dogman's cat.
Yeah, but like I'm not so hungry for evidence that I want to hurt an animal, just to prove it's real to somebody else that I already know it's real, And that's one of the issues is like I don't make money off of my YouTube channel at all, so I'm not forced to continually put new content up. I just put when I have something that I've found out or researched or something I think that seems challenging. I've seen rarely I'll see new video come out that's real enough to possibly be real that it's worth me bringing up and talking about. That was one of the things that I was like, because my wife was like, what are you going to talk about? Because, you haven't been out in the field, as much because you're foot and whatnot. I said, well, then I'm going to do some research on some of the new stuff that's out there. Some of the new stuff that's out there, it's like, they're not even trying. It's like some really bad stuff, and then you got all the AI crap now. And, that's one thing that bugs the head, man. You know how from, what was that, Family Guy? When Peter, he's on the news and he does that segment, what grinds my gears, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're like, what really grinds my gears? What really grinds my gears is all them AI Bigfoot videos of them talking and being funny, but they're gorillas and orangutans.
Yep.
Why is it so hard for AI to put this nose you know, on them. I just thought that was really interesting that the AI has an issue with putting that nose on the picture. I have a picture of my Breaking Bigfoot picture of me that I made, and I just put that one on there on the AI. I said, "Can you make this, picture of this individual?" I didn't want to say Bigfoot. I put individual, with a TP structure, wooden TP structure, and it just looks more normal to me. And whenever I see those silly AI videos of them joking, talking, today I'm doing selfie Bigfoot, and he's talking to the camera, it's all gorillas. And people are calling it Bigfoot. It's like,
the problem with AI is it's only as good as the learning it was given. And so because there is no universally accepted true photos, of Bigfoot or that type of thing, the PG video is probably about the closest thing, but there's still some debate on that 60 years later. It can't learn what a Bigfoot looks like. There's no consistency to it. I can, I could make AI make myself look like an elf because there's enough images of what an elf is recognized to be, or it
Right.
can generate me as a person of color because there are people of color in the world that it can draw that from. You just don't have that with Bigfoot.
right.
Your cleared up photos were the best I've seen, but there's going to be somebody out there, probably even somebody in our chat, that's going to be, that's bullshit.
Mhm.
Well,
for sure.
that's the thing is you're never going to convince somebody who doesn't want to be convinced.
Nope.
And for people who believe, no amount of evidence is necessary.
Right. Oh, you could get a Bigfoot chopped off its head, throw it at them, smear it on their face, and they'll still say, could be CG, Like, it don't matter. If they don't want to believe it, they're not going to believe it no matter what you give them, show them, present to them. It just doesn't matter. Here's I sent you that picture, DA, of remember, I'm zoomed in like from far away. It's the pterodactyl one. And then
Okay.
I'm sending you the AI Sasquatch version of me, which is obviously
Okay.
me in the face, you'll see. But the pterodactyl one I sent to you already. There we go. All right.
See, now
I
we've
can't
taught the
imagine it's any
chatbot
other
that you're a
bird,
Bigfoot.
Well, my parents, they used to tell me, I swear, they used to tell me this, like, I actually believed it for a little while when I was little. But here in Three Rivers, there's a lot of Bigfoot reports. And we used to go camping there a lot. And my parents told me that I was adopted. And they said that they had been out there and they found Bigfoot footprints. And they followed them. And in one of them, they found me in the footprint. Yeah. So that, until I turned about 10 years old, I actually believed it. But yeah, there you go. That looks like a pterodactyl to me.
I'm waiting for every AI Bigfoot now, though, to have Jesus's face on it, because he's now taught the learning system that that's what he is.
Yeah, there we go. There's me
That's awesome.
without shaving, building a teepee.
That's
Harry's
funny.
dad.
I like it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Jesus and the Hendersons.
Right?
I was gonna say, all the Bigfoot's gonna have a certain racial slant to it that's just gonna cause a whole other bunch of trouble.
I'm gonna get taken by one of them female Bigfoots. They'll do it. It just reminds me of that old Bugs Bunny cartoon where he gets left on the island, and those two gorillas, the female gorilla takes him as her baby. That's what happened to me. I'm a big normal person, but in the world of Bigfoots, I'm just a wee little baby.
That's funny.
That is funny. So, where are you planning on like doing your expeditions in the future?
Well, I would like to go to the East Coast. One, I need to go back to Texas for sure. and I need to go in my backyard. Go back in my backyard. We've had so many fires and floods here now. I don't know if you've seen in the news. Rio Doso is literally like my backyard behind me up the mountain. About a 45-minute drive from my house is Rio Doso. So I live at the base of the mountain, right at the bottom, about 4 miles down. But yeah, I'm really curious to know how that's affected the Sasquatch out here and all the other cryptids that are out here. Because like when we had our first fires about 10 years ago, it pushed a bunch of the Sasquatch into Rio Doso, the town, and people were having sightings in the daytime of Sasquatches going through dumpsters, and they were hard up for food, and they were being spotted everywhere.
I just got a story the other day from a buddy of mine who's still in law enforcement, so I can't tell you his name, but he said, now take this. He says, I'm telling you because I know you like this kind of stuff. He says, but take it as you would, because the source isn't the most credible. I'm like, okay. He said, well, I was taking a homeless fella to the hospital the other night, and he told me that there was a restaurant over on the north side of Springfield that he was going through looking for food and got chased off by what he referred to as a giant hairy guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's here in town.
I believe it. You remember, what was it, Utah Big Sasquatch?
I think so.
It was a while back. Young blonde guy from Utah. Real good looking kid. And he was like doing like amazing with footage and all kinds of stuff. And then he just kind of fell off the face of the earth due to some personal issues he had. But he did a lot of research into his local towns and with the homeless people. And yeah, the Bigfoots were going into town at nighttime to abandoned buildings and in homeless camps. And yeah, and the same thing with in Las Vegas. When I lived in Las Vegas, they were traveling underneath the whole city, back and forth in
those tunnels.
Yeah, where they call the mole people live. And they would they talk about it. Say, yeah, Bigfoots, they walk right through here. They big, smell horrible. We just don't mess with them. They don't mess with us. Let them walk.
There is a massive network of interconnected steam tunnels and drainage tunnels and caves under Springfield.
Wow, that's wild.
I know one of the entrance points. The entrance is actually big enough to drive a car into, but it gets smaller the farther you go in.
Nice. Like up here, when the Spaniards came to conquest everything, and they were fighting the Apache up here. The Apache, they have tunnels here that from the bottom of our mountains all the way to the very top of our mountains, Alto and Three Rivers, there's cave systems for the whole thing, and they used to just like kind of disappear on the Spaniards when the conquistadors would come, and they think it's like, holy moly, they're doing magic. But they know where the entrances were. They don't use them anymore. But this is all I can imagine is where all of these beings and cryptids are hiding, and the fact that these used to be a bunch of giant temples here that I'm now finding out. It only makes sense of this. It just reminds me of the Congo. Remember that movie? No, was it Congo? Right, with the white apes.
Yeah,
white gorillas.
Yeah, it reminds me of that same situation here, but with not white ones. You know what I mean?
Well, the white gorillas in Congo were based on real animals. They're based on the billy ape.
They're those 6 feet tall and taller, slightly taller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the billy ape. They for the longest time people didn't believe they exist until National Geographic finally caught them on trail cameras. Come to find out, they're like 6 foot tall. They tend to spend most of their time walking on their back, their hind legs. They're mostly bipedal, and they hunt lions and people.
Yep.
And they use spears.
They use all kinds of tools,
Yep.
and will make war on other clans of billy apes.
And we'll go into villages and snatch women and children.
What does that sound like? But it was one of those cases that the natives in the Congo had been telling them about it for 100 years or more, and Western scientists were like, no, that sounds like native hokum. Gorillas aren't like that. And lo and behold, the natives were right.
Remember when they didn't believe in gorillas?
Yeah, wasn't all that long ago.
You know,
Same with the panda.
Pandas, yeah.
Longest time they didn't believe the panda existed.
that's still a very curious situation because they don't show up anywhere in history with the Chinese. For thousands of years, no, they didn't notice them. I think that's just weird. It's like,
It is odd.
Everything's a cryptid until you have proof.
That's true.
You know,
Harold Goodell had a good question, and he says, do you think Sasquatch in winter bed down inside a bear's dens and use the bear as a food source?
that is interesting, but I personally don't think so. You never know.
It would be an easy way to get a meal. You can find a bear den.
Would make sense why the bears are so scared of them.
I think they used their own cave systems like we talked about. So
yeah, I think in the wintertime, I think that that they're smart enough to go bury any meat, stock up on meat, and put it in the snow with the higher elevations. Kind of use it as a refrigerator.
Pagan Trucker says there are videos. There are truckers that have videos of going into the underground facilities under Springfield. Yeah, I used to work down there in security years ago. The Springfield Underground is very extensive.
Oh yeah, my dad used to drive the big rigs, and he would deliver in those mines. He would deliver all up in those places. He said it was just ridiculous how huge these underground facilities are.
Well,
that's like an underground city down there.
The federal government's cheese reserve for the entire country is in Springfield Underground.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of cheese.
There's a lot of cheese. All that government cheese that we used to eat in school. If you did public school, that's exactly where it comes from.
Yep. And I think it's Paris, or there's some salt mine that they turned into a museum. I don't know if you ever seen those pictures. If you type in Google salt mine museums or in a museum, and it's just absurd the size of this place that we've dug out just recently for salt. I think it was in Paris. I think it's in Paris or Russia, one of the two. I think it's Paris, but it was an abandoned salt mine and they turned it to a museum, a church. I think it's a church now or something like that.
Church.
Yeah,
that's wild.
I remember the story.
Just ridiculous the size of the stuff that we have no idea that's underneath us all and how they interconnect. It just gets ridiculous.
There's a depleted mine somewhere here in the States. I think it's like in the northern Midwest, where Ford actually bought the mine and used it to store like surplus cars.
That's up in Kansas City.
Is it Kansas City?
That's Kansas City.
Acre after acre of like old Mustangs and all these things.
Lone Queen says the Bigfoot in Alaska are supposed to build food stores in ice caves that they dig from some things I've heard. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, pretty much anything that the Native Americans used to do to survive, especially harsh winters, I guarantee you they're doing them too. Same thing with medicinal plants.
Yep.
Well, and depending on what evidence that you subscribe to, what belief system you subscribe to as far as these things go. I mean, if Bigfoot's, like another great ape, they can have near human intelligence. If Billy apes are using tools, what is something even more intelligent going to be doing?
Yep. Exactly. And late, humans' intelligence has not been that great.
Well, and primates are great mimics. A lot of
they learn by observing.
Well, exactly. I mean, in the St. Louis Zoo back in the 60s and 70s, they used to have a gorilla named Phil, and Phil would drink beer. And so at a certain time of day, this one keeper would come out and he'd pop himself a beer and he'd hand one to Phil, and Phil would drink it like a human. And he'd give Phil cigarettes and he'd smoke and stuff like this. Since the zoo was partially sponsored by Anheuser-Busch, they had their brand product placement.
Brand placement.
But I mean, you see the old videos of him and it looks like a guy in a gorilla suit smoking a cigarette, and
Yep.
you know, it's just this big gorilla.
Well, what's scary is orangutans. I've been hearing so much about orangutans lately, and like, you've heard about the orangutan brothels?
No.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's orangutan brothels, and there was this one orangutan that had pretty much plotted murder, and broke out of a zoo and hunted down some guy that was there that was like mistreating him and stuff. I mean, just they're really smart. People don't understand just how smart primates are. It's beyond for some things it's beyond comprehension to the average, I'd say, person to get it, just how smart they are. And imagine, like you just said, if just our regular primate friends are that smart, imagine somebody that's way more human involved.
Like that gorilla that became friends with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And
Coco.
when she saw the article that he had died, she mourned. She processed the fact that he had died.
Yeah.
Well, you know why they're so close is because she had a kitten, and the kitten got ran over by a car or truck, something like that, and Coco wouldn't respond until Robin came and met her, and that cheered her up, and they got to be friends. And then when he died, I don't think she lasted much longer after. Yes, he said orangutan.
She was dead within 2 years and was never the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, animals can definitely mourn.
Oh, if you don't believe that, watch the video of the dogs at their owners' graves.
Oh yeah.
There's one of that husky that's sitting there just, I mean, it'll tear your heart out.
They know. That's for sure.
Well, Jesus, we're at the top of the second hour. I know it's getting pretty late. This really flew by, dude. We need to do this again.
That's awesome.
Before we wind things up, why don't you tell us where we can find your research and tell us a little bit about your work?
Everybody can find me. I'd say the main place to find me right now would be YouTube on my channel, Breaking Bigfoot.
Link is in the chat.
Thank you, sir. I have at least 94 videos on there. They're not all Bigfoot, but I'd say the majority of them are about my Sasquatch research. But I do have some UFO footage that I've filmed and some ghost stuff on there. Not too much ghost stuff, but that's way towards a lot earlier in my YouTube world of videos. But the majority is all Sasquatch. And I have plenty of videos to go through if you haven't seen any of them. I would say that's the main place to look if you're just curious about me in general and my background. Just type in the old Google Jesus Payan Jr. actor, or just Jesus Jr. actor, or Jesus Jr. Breaking Bad, or any of those things, and it'll all come up, and you'll see I'm just a wacky guy. Has tried so many things and done crazy stuff in life. But that's, I'd say you could find me mostly is going to be on my Breaking Bigfoot channel, where I'm going to put this on my interview playlists.
Awesome.
So thank you guys so much for having me here, and
hey, thank you for coming, man.
Let me know when you're ready for part 2 of a bunch more parts.
Heck yeah, we'll definitely do it again soon.
I'll be here.
We're going to go and start winding things down. Before we do, one thing I always want to mention is the 22 a Day Foundation. We lose 22 veterans a day to suicide, and that is 22 too many. So reach out to your friends and family who are first responders, who are veterans, no matter what capacity they've served. Some of these folks are carrying wounds you just don't see. So reach out to them, let them know you think about them, let them know you care, because again, 22 a day is 22 too many. Let's get that number down to 0. And another big shout out and thank you to Jesus Payan. You're one of my favorite guests. I love having you on because it's always a lot of fun. And not only do we learn a lot, we always laugh about it too. So it's overall it's an awesome experience. And definitely check out Jesus's channel. It's I've got the links posted in the chat. So make sure you got to like, share, and subscribe to his channel. Show him some love. And as we wrap things up, we're gonna do the quote that we have been doing for a while. And Steve, since you're here with us tonight, how about you lead us out with the toast.
Oh, okay. All right. Of course, this is from an old folk song called "The Parting Glass," and it's a great Irish toast. It is what I think of it. But since it fell into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all.
Good night, everybody. Slàinte mhath.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAX Machina. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.